Trump administration in 2019 went along with it, let it stand, didn't appeal it. So this whole idea that, oh, he's a gang member, we all know he's a gang. No, he's not. It was never proved. Never proven. And, you know, David Ignatius, I just want to say, again, on that front, never proven, but has been proven. And what has been admitted by the federal government is they made a mistake. That's number one. I want to talk about the foreign leaders, though. And in this case, we'll talk about the president of El Salvador. And I just think it's curious that foreign leaders often make the same mistake that, and I know you've heard it, and I've heard it, somebody gets elected president, and everybody in Washington, D.C. for about 6 months thinks, well, this person's going to be president forever. And we've got to move all of our policy. And then about 6 months in, you're like, oh, wait. Yeah, gravity. Yeah, it still exists. Political gravity still exists. The contempt the president of El Salvador has for United States rule of law, the mocking of people in the United States, it's as if somebody in El Salvador hasn't told him that there are going to be elections a year from now. And I think most smart money right now would say Democrats are going to do pretty well. So Democrats will be funding whatever aid El Salvador gets. And I find foreign leaders make this mistake time and time again. They have this myopic vision. This is happening in America right now. American media exaggerates this, makes it seem far grimmer or far more, intense than it actually may be. We better put all of our chips on this side of the table. And then they find out a year and a half later, they're dealing with the other party when it comes to funding. I'm just curious your thoughts about what you're seeing, the contempt out of El Salvador for a president who, whether he likes it or not, a year from now is going to be depending on Democrats most likely for funding and aid.
So, Joe, President Bukele was a tough guy, disdainful of law, normal procedures, before Donald Trump ever got to the White House in his second term. That's who he is, and there's a growing movement of leaders in Central and South America who were similarly taking very harsh stands against gang members, cartels. That's just the way the South and Central America is rolling right now. I think what's really striking about this case is less about what's happening there, which has its own momentum, than what's happening here. I think we are heading into one of the great legal and constitutional events, I don't want to say crises, of my lifetime. Reading the appellate opinion that Judge Harvey Wilkinson issued last night, talking about this case, I've rarely seen more brilliant and thoughtful language in a judicial decision than this. He says that we are, I believe his language is, grinding irrevocably towards a confrontation between the branches of government. He tries to speak sympathetically to the executive branch. He speaks to the judicial branch that he represents. But you couldn't ask, I mean, I wrote to a friend, 100 years from now, people will read that decision as a model of clarity in crisis. And it reassures me that our judicial system is as intact as ever, that this is going to the Supreme Court with, I think, more and more clarity about the lawlessness of the executive, and that in that sense, we're heading toward this crisis, not with Trump on the rise. We watched a segment of Trump that we began this show with. Trump is backing away. It's a classic Trump. Well, I don't know much about this. That's what he says when he's about to lose. He just, it's not my problem. I'm looking to others. So, but I urge viewers, if you have a minute, take a look at that appellate opinion and tell me if you don't feel better about the country when you've read it.
Well, I mean, the judicial branch is a step forward, and again, it's pretty unambiguous. I mean, again, in 2019, Judge ruled he couldn't be taken out of the country. Trump administration then obviously agreed. They didn't appeal it. Trump administration this time said, we made a mistake. And again, it's just like the Signalgate thing. Know when to say, hey, we made a mistake. We're going to bring him back and move on. I don't understand, because you see, the thing is, What the White House is trying to do, well, some of the White House at least, are trying to paint this, oh, these are left-wingers. I mean, this is MSNBC and CNN, this is New York Times editorial. No, it's not. It's Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan has gone out there and saying, what's going on here, man? I don't understand this. You have Ann Coulter talking about deportations of people because of what they said politically. She said, again, Ann Coulter. I thought we had a First Amendment, Ann Coulter said. You've got the voice for the right wing, the National Review, just eviscerating the administration and the Justice Department and Marco Rubio on this Garcia case. You have Murdoch's Wall Street Journal editorial page constantly. I mean, this, again, why fight on a ground where you're going to lose? Like, this is... I guess some people inside the White House are thinking, just like they did at the beginning of Signalgate, oh, these are just lefties that are. No, man. You got town hall meetings where you've got Chuck Grassley in Iowa, and he's in the middle of Iowa. And you got people yelling from the audience, what about that guy in El Salvador? Are you going to bring him back? That's in the heartland of Iowa. And those weren't lefties. We saw. At least it's on video. And then you even had trade unions now throwing their political weight. I mean, because actually they call Abrego Garcia a brother because he was a member of their union. The Maryland man was in the first year of a sheet metal workers apprenticeship when, mistakes happen. He was mistakenly deported by immigration enforcement. Now his union, the International Association of Sheet Metal, Air, Rail, and Transportation Workers, want him back. And last week, the president of North America's Building Trades Union received a standing ovation when he called for Abrego Garcia's return. Watch this.
You want to build a $5 billion data center? Want more six-figure careers with health care, retirement, and no college debt? You don't call Elon Musk. You call us. North America's building trades unions. And yeah, that means all of us, including our brother, smart apprentice, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who we demand to be returned to us and his family now. Bring him home.
Gene Robinson, I mean, just not a fight. Yeah. They need to be fighting. They're wrong on the law. They're wrong on the facts. They're wrong. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of fights to win here. This, as we've said on this show every day, is a political winner with Americans as far as we've all said it, getting violent gang members out of this country. We've said it from the very beginning. There are fights to be had on this issue politically that they can fight and win. This just isn't one of them, is it? I mean, when you see images like that, when you have Joe Rogan, when you have all of these other people on the right or some on the far right saying, come on, deport them. We want them deported, but do it the right way, the way 9 Supreme Court justices are saying you need to do it.
That's absolutely right. And, there are a couple of issues. There's the question of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, judged by that support from his union. The entire evidence against him in terms of being a gang member seems to consist of the fact that he was hanging out in a Home Depot parking lot one morning with some other people who at least one of whom might have done something wrong. And then there's an unnamed informant who said, oh, yeah, he's a gang member once with no verification, no proof, no evidence, just an allegation, again, by an unnamed informant. And on that basis, they're calling him a violent terrorist who needs to be deported to El Salvador. I'm going to underscore what David Ignatius said, though. That opinion by Judge Harvey Wilkinson, it's incredibly eloquent, and this is a voice that conservative jurists listen to because he is a highly respected conservative judge. He has been for many years. And so this will be noticed this will be noticed by the judiciary, including the Supreme Court. Everybody's going to read